I think what we're talking about here are spiritual leaders who have some significant credibility about them, and that's a very complicated thing to figure out how that happens. But it's interesting that Pope Francis has inspired such a very high degree of enthusiasm and credibility. And so as a result, when he comes and he visits with people, they're going to be listening very carefully to what he says and receiving it in an interesting way. His address to Congress is huge because it's a first. And I almost feel, this is just my interpretation, that in addressing Congress, what he's really doing is he's addressing the entire American people. And so that's very, very powerful and may actually have some implications for our national psyche as we sort of think about and understand what it is that he's saying to us. There is a parallel between his level of popularity and the popularity that Pope John Paul II experienced. But Pope John Paul II was a new kind of pope. He was so different from previous popes that I think part of his popularity was just that this was such a departure from anything we've ever had in the past. And I don't mean to suggest that John Paul II didn't have substance. Obviously, he had enormous substance, but it was different. With Pope Francis, people are responding to him because of not only what he says, but the way he lives, his choices, the fact that he is part of the Jesuit community, the fact that he chooses to live very simply, and the fact that he chooses to be present to people who are at the margins. I mean, he has visited people who are in prison and people who are in hospitals and people who are in areas that are economically depressed everywhere he goes. And so that is a different kind of popularity or connection with people than what I perceived with regard to Pope John Paul II. Not a value judgment, just an observation that this is different. So I'm excited about his visit. I'm excited about the choices of venues where he will visit and speak. I'm particularly interested in what will happen when he addresses Congress, and also what will happen at the interfaith worship service that will take place at Ground Zero.